Welcome back, everyone. This is part 4 on What If Peter Parker Was in Miraculous Ladybug, Chapter 11. Peter sat in the back of the car on his way to school. Chloe's presence next to him was out of his view but still noticeable as he gazed out the window. She was fidgeting with her phone, probably texting someone. Thoughts flooded his mind. However, what kept coming back to him was Marinette. It didn't matter how many times he brushed the thoughts away. Marinette was Ladybug. Even though this had surprised him yesterday, he definitely hadn't been expecting it. He didn't feel surprised. He himself was Spider-Man, and he wasn't that much older than Marinette, who was Ladybug. If he and Marinette were superheroes, could other people around their age also be superheroes? Or Hawkmoth? He glanced at Chloe beside him. Wouldn't that be amusing if she was Hawkmoth? He shook his head silently, smiling in amusement. No, I'm pretty certain that Hawkmoth is not female, he mused. Or Chat Noir. Who could his identity you thinking about me, Parker? Chloe interrupted his thoughts. He flinched, glancing at Chloe. And no, I'm not thinking you about, damn it. I messed up my grammar again. No, I'm not. Chloe laughed loudly. I'm pretty sure you are, Petey. There's that nickname. Again, I thought it was just a one-off thing yesterday. No, I'm not, Chloe. Stop it. She laughed again. This is hilarious, seeing you embarrassed. A flash from the phone she held up let him know a photo had been taken. Chloe, seriously? What? I'm taking a photo of my favorite guy. She placed a hand on his shoulder, causing him to flinch again. Don't. Anyway, she continued, you didn't tutor me yesterday, huh? Yesterday? After Michelle decided to throw a fit and become akumatized. That was your fault, Chloe. And then you never helped me out with English. I mean, that was really mean. You just left me there. Chloe pouted, scooting over in her seat closer to him, and Peter resisted the urge to move away. Peter glanced out the window, seeing the school come into view. Oh look, the school. We're here. Okay, we will now go into the school. He opened the door of the car. This car felt like it cost more than his own home and hurried on. Petey, he froze. What? Peter turned around. Why don't you hang out with me and with Flash? Instead of hanging out with them, Chloe almost seemed offended. Well, Peter responded slowly. Flash strongly dislikes me, and I want to hang out with Adrien and Nino and Elia and Marinette and Michelle. Marinette? Michelle? Chloe groaned loudly and exaggeratedly. I honestly don't understand how you can stand them. Either of them. She waved her hand dismissively in the air. Whatever. You can hang out with whoever. I guess we can always hang out later since you're staying at my place. Yep. Oh, alright, Chloe. You have a day good at school. Peter put his head in his hand. I'm pretty sure I screwed up my language again. You know what I meant, right? Peter spotted Elia talking with Marinette and Michelle. He lightened his steps as he got closer and put his finger to his lips as Elia caught his eye. She received the message and continued talking to Michelle and Marinette, who had their backs facing him and pretended to not notice him. When he was close enough, he suddenly put his hands on their shoulders. Hey guys. Michelle flinched slightly and shot daggers towards him. Her eyes narrowed in annoyance but sparkled with a hint of amusement. Marinette, on the other hand, reacted much more. With a yelp, she spun around in surprise, dropping any books she was holding. Her face reddened instantly as everyone turned their attention towards her. Marinette scrambled to pick up all her books from the floor. The hairs on the back of his neck rose as Peter felt the presence of someone behind him. He glanced over his shoulder to see Adrien standing behind him, hands hovering slightly above his shoulder as if he was about to try startle Peter. Michelle was right, Adrien mused, looking slightly disappointed and lowering his arms. You are hard to scare. I could hear you. Peter snorted. You're not as quiet as you think you are. Elia narrowed her eyes with a smile. I think we're going to make it our personal challenge to scare you, Peter. Please don't. Peter groaned quietly. None of them attempted to scare him until mathematics. Peter felt a tingling at the back of his neck as he wrote in his book. He ducked as a paper ball sailed over his head. Really? He whispered quietly. Turning around, Elia shrugged, trying to hide a smirk, and he turned back to his work. Rolling his eyes, he ducked a few seconds later as another ball sailed past his head. Peter glanced at Elia briefly, but she actually looked focused. Who threw that? He glanced at Adrien. He was attempting to stifle a laugh. Yep, that's who threw it. Peter shook his head silently and picked up the paper ball. He tossed it back towards Adrien, hitting him on the head and causing him to flinch. Haha, I startled him. But he can't scare me, Peter mused silently. At lunch break, They'd seemed to have forgotten about the whole let's try to scare Peter thing. The 5 of them, including Nino, were crowded around Elya's laptop. What are you guys all watching? Peter asked them. Elya motioned for him to be quiet, and so he watched the video. With them, it seemed to be a news story. He couldn't understand every word spoken, but he got the gist of it. We will now be turning to our mayor, Ender Bourgeois, to see what his opinion is on the matter. Ender, well, as we saw a few days ago when the supervillain, Reverser, attacked the city, it was probably not a completely good idea to send Paris trash into space, and so, a chorus of cheers, hisses, boos and many words in French that Peter didn't understand were thrown towards the mayor. Obviously this had been recorded live, and so as I was saying, the mayor stammered. I have decided to bring the trash and rubbish from space back down to Paris so we can. The clip was cut short to a new reporter. As we can see from that clip that I hope helped to refresh your memory, she said calmly, a hint of irritation in her voice. The mayor announced the space trash being brought back to Earth more than 6 months ago. Where is it now? Still up in space. It's been like that for those whole 6 months. However, we have new updates on this topic. She paused to catch her breath. Oh, that clip was from a while ago. Peter thought. Yesterday the mayor announced that in 2 days he will finally be bringing the trash back. However, he refuses an interview and he refuses to comment on the situation further. She gathered up her papers, showing she was almost finished talking. Anyway, I'm Nadia Chamek. Don't be bemused. It's just the news. We'll see you tomorrow as we show the live coverage of the trash returning to Earth. The screen went blank and Elya closed her laptop. Isn't this exciting? Elya grinned, and Marinette nodded. What's exciting about space trash? Peter asked. Not the trash, Nino answered. What's on the trash? Huh, Peter, don't you remember that a few years ago it was shown to us that literal aliens exist? Imagine what could be on that junk that's been floating in space for 6 months. Elya interrupted enthusiastically. Yeah, I guess. You're saying that some alien could be hitchhiking its way onto Earth on some trash? Yes, it's entirely possible. Adrien answered. Peter shrugged. Alright, sure. I guess I'll have to watch it with you guys tomorrow. You'd better. Marinette smiled. Chapter 12. Chloe, no, that's not how you pronounce it. Yes, it is. My English is fine. Are we done yet? No, you're the one who asked me to help you with your English work. You need to let me. Yes, but you know what I meant. I didn't really mean for you to tutor me. She leaned forward slightly and batted her eyelashes. I wanted to spend time with you, get to know you. You could have just said so, but would you have accepted? Peter's hesitation all but answered her question. Chloe stood up. Come on, Petey. Let's go watch a movie or something. She swiped the books off the table nonchalantly. Forget about this language stuff. Learning other languages is stupid. English is stupid. Everyone should just learn French. Peter, slightly offended at Chloe's remarks, frowned. Look, Chloe, I wanted to, walk around the city. Did I stuff up my grammar? I'm pretty sure I did. I also have some work I need to do. You can do that in here with me though. Chloe pouted. Yeah, but aside from the fact that you're going to try to distract me, don't you have work too? Yeah, I do. Oh, Sabrina does it for me. Of course she does. Peter muttered quietly. So, are we going to watch a movie? What movie do you want to watch? Peter sighed silently. Look, Chloe, I don't want to watch something. I have things to do. Chloe frowned. If I let you help me, will you stay? Huh? Stay. You're going to stay. If I let you teach me English? Chloe repeated, picking the books off the floor and dropping them on the table. She narrowed her eyes with a slight smile. Yeah, I guess, Peter replied hesitantly. Then help me. What are you waiting for? Hurry up. Peter opened the book back up to the page they were on and attempted to continue teaching Chloe. It was an hour later, maybe 2. Peter had finally been able to say goodbye to Chloe and get a chance to leave. He'd walked a few blocks away from the hotel before turning into an alleyway. Peter had made sure no one was looking before he'd unzipped his backpack. Now he was swinging through the city, watching all the buildings pass by. He headed for the Eiffel Tower, somewhere he'd always wanted to visit. Unfortunately, he'd still not been there. Hey Karen, are you working yet? Peter asked softly, talking to the AI in his suit. Unfortunately not, Peter. Your suit has been badly damaged after the glitchy reply of his AI cut out, before returning a few seconds later. The Akuma yesterday that you fought has badly damaged some of the circuitry in your suit, Peter. I would advise the voice cut. out again for a few seconds. I would advise you disable me for the duration of this trip, as I am unable to connect to anything at all. Sure, I mean, if you think that's a good idea, I'll do that then. Hey. Peter's right web shooter didn't shoot any webbing out and he started to fall. Karen, my web shooter isn't working. Thankfully, his left hand still worked and he saved himself from crashing onto the ground. Apologies, Peter. I am unable to connect to anything at all. That includes connecting to the rest of the suit to figure out the problem. How come Ladybug didn't fix this after the battle? Peter asked, landing on the base of the Eiffel Tower. I'm on the Eiffel Tower, he thought, quivering with excitement as he started to climb. I don't understand what you mean, Peter. After the battle, Ladybug does this freaky thing where she just fixes everything. I have no idea how she even does it. But why didn't it fix the suit? I am not sure, Peter. I was not aware of this happening. Karen's voice cut out again, but didn't return. The lighting in Peter's suit flickered briefly. And no more suit lady, I guess. Peter thought, almost at the top of the tower. He shot out a web with his left hand and lifted himself up onto the deck on the tower. Peter looked out onto the beautiful night sky shining above the city of Paris, grinning with awe. He leaned on the railing and smiled, appreciating the chance to be alone, but also longing for company. He felt a tingling sensation on the back of his neck. His smile faltered as something fluttered past, landing on the railing beside him. Peter took a step back, warily watching it. It looked like a butterfly, or maybe a moth. He shone a light onto it, revealing speckled purple wings. It looked familiar. I've seen this before, Peter thought. It almost looks like. Peter gasped. An Akuma. He jumped back as another butterfly landed beside it, and then another, and another. More and more butterflies fluttered past him until there were so many that his vision became dark. Arg, no, stop, Peter yelled, flailing his arms around. He shot out a web and launched himself higher onto the tower, looking down below at the swarm of insects. Please, whoever are you, stop this, Peter yelped. I know this is not natural. A figure emerged from the swarm. Spider-Man, he said. You know, you are the first person to get me to leave my home in a long time. So why did you? Peter responded. What do you want? The figure tapped his cane on the ground a few times patiently. Well, Spider-Man, I'm Hawkmoth, and I have a proposition for you. Peter stiffened. Hawkmoth? He echoed. You're the supervillain. Well, I wouldn't call myself a supervillain. I mean, that makes me sound bad or even evil. But I wouldn't say that. I am just trying to take what is rightfully mine. He took a step towards Peter. I have nothing against you, Spider-Man. I have come here to propose that you give me a hand. If you agree to help me get Ladybug and Chat Noir's Miraculouses, I can give you incredible power, unmatched strength, even more than you have already. Hawkmoth held out his hand, and one of the Akumas landed on his outstretched palm. What do you say, Spider-Man? No, Peter repeated quietly. What do you mean, no? Hawkmoth responded, frowning and narrowing his eyes. Do you understand why I need the Miraculouses? No. Have you ever lost someone, Spider-Man? Someone that you cared deeply about? Peter stiffened at his question. Did they die right in front of you while you just watched it happen? Don't you wish you could fix it? Bring them back? He felt his chest tighten. Uncle Ben, Peter thought. My parents. No, I am not teaming up with you. You've hurt so many people. You've caused so much damage in Paris. I will never work for you. Or with you. You will eat your words someday, Hawkmoth replied, but Peter swung away, not wanting to stick around any longer. Peter landed on the roof of Marinette's house, louder than he expected and most likely startling her. The trapdoor leading to her room lifted slightly, and Peter saw the silhouette of Marinette. Who's there? It's me, Spider-Man. Peter grinned, jumping down onto the railing. Oh, it's you. Marinette narrowed her eyes and raised her eyebrows. What are you doing here? Again. Oh, I just wanted to drop by and hello to you. Say hello to you? Yeah. Why? I just wait, Mitch, I mean, your friend isn't here, is she? Your friend that was akumatized yesterday? Michelle? No, she's staying with my friend Elia tonight. Marinette responded. Oh, so she's not here. Oh, great. Cool. Why are you here, Spider-Man? Marinette asked again. I just wanted to say hello, and I wanted to talk to you. Oh, so you wanted to talk? That's what well then sit down. I don't have anyone to talk to anyway. What did you want to talk about, Spider-Man? I don't know really. Peter sat down, yawning quietly. Marinette glanced at him and shook her head quietly, a small smile on her face. So your crush's dad turned out to be the supervillain you were fighting? Yeah. Crazy, huh? That's unlucky. Yeah. Well, at least my crush's father isn't a supervillain. She paused. I hope. Marinette then froze, putting her hands in her face as it reddened after realizing what she said. That would be coincidental. You're sure he's not Hawkmoth? Yeah, she responded, her voice slightly muffled. We actually suspected it was him, but he was akumatized, so we know he can't be Hawkmoth. Who was it? Marinette glanced at him. I'm not telling you that. Peter frowned. Fair enough, he responded quietly. Marinette stood up. Why don't you go home, Spider-Man? It's getting late. I'm sure even you have to go to bed. Yeah. Peter stood up as well. Goodbye, Marinette. Bye. Yeah. Peter went to shoot a web with his right hand, but, realizing it wasn't working, he quickly used his left hand before he embarrassed himself. Bye. He swung through the city, heading back towards the hotel. Peter finally got back to his room. After changing back into his clothes in the alleyway, he'd walked back to the hotel. Now he was in his room. He lay down on his bed with a sigh and closed his eyes as he waited for sleep to come. Chapter 13. Peter set his alarm to wake him up an hour earlier than what he had set it the previous day. He did this mostly to avoid Chloe, but also because he had other things he wanted to do. He pulled out his phone, going through his contacts until he found the one he was looking for. He called the number, putting his phone up to his ear as the call connected. Hello, hi Happy. Peter hesitated before continuing. Is Mr. Stark there? What is the problem? I want to speak with Mr. Stark. He heard a sigh. All right, I'll find Tony. There was some noise as the phone was transferred. Hello, Mr. Stark? Kid, hello, how are you? You're in Italy right now, right? As an exchange student? Paris. Right. So why are you calling me at 6 in the morning? 6? Wait, Mr. Stark. Isn't the time different in America to in Paris? Yeah, it's around midnight or something, but I'm not in New York right now. Huh? You're not? Where are you? Germany. Why? Don't worry, kid. Just tell me. Why did you call? Oh, right, it's just that my suit is kinda broken. Kinda broken? Yes. Well, it's a long story. I was fighting against an Akuma with Ladybug and Chat Noir and... You were fighting something? Peter heard the mixture of stress, concern and anger in his voice. Why did Karen not alert me of what was happening? Well, you see, the suit was somehow damaged, and so I was just going to ask you how I can fix it. I'll do the tinkering with the suit, kid, Tony Stark told him. I'll see what the problem is, and while I fix it, I'll bring you your old suit. No, Mr. Stark, you don't have to do that. I do, kid. You need to be safe if you're going to insist on fighting supervillains wherever you go. Please tell me that those people you mentioned are experienced and good role models. Peter hesitated for a second. Yeah, sure. I'll bring your suit later today after you finish school, all right? Okay. Thanks, Mr. Stark. See you later, kid. Peter heard a click as the phone hung up. He ate breakfast quickly and quietly, escaping the hotel before Chloe was even awake. Even though Tony Stark hadn't specifically told Peter not to use the suit anymore, he felt slightly guilty attempting to swing around the city with the half-broken suit. It was definitely a learning experience. Attempting to web swing with only his left hand, the right web shooter still being non-functional, but he treated it as practice for if one of his web shooters were disabled again during a fight. He headed towards the school. Well, not directly towards the school. He took the scenic route, scanning the streets for any sort of early morning crime. Hey, stop. Peter narrowed his eyes, swinging towards the direction of the sound. There, Peter spotted movement in one of the alleyways. He swung onto the wall, climbing along it to see what was happening. Get back. You are not getting my bag. A long brown-haired girl was backing up against the wall as two almost cliché-looking people advanced towards her. If you want to walk away from this with your life, you will give us your bag, one of them sneered. And the necklace, we want the necklace too, the other added. Your necklace is pretty. No, seems like we're going to have to do this the hard way. Peter heard the click of a gun and knew he needed to act fast. Hey, stealing isn't nice. And it's also bad. And don't do bad things, because it isn't nice. He double-checked the web shooter on his left wrist to make sure that he had the correct setting and fired shots at both of the robbers. Don't worry, miss. You're safe now. Peter dropped down onto the ground and walked up to the girl. Hey, are you? Oh, well, if everything is fine, I'll be leaving then. Wait, you're the Spider-Man, right? She asked curiously, brushing her hair out from her eyes. Yeah, that's me. Peter laughed as she took a step closer to him. Would it be okay if you took me home? If I'm late, my mother will be very worried and I don't want her to know I was almost held at gunpoint, the girl asked. Peter glanced at the time displayed at the corner of his vision. I have somewhere to be very soon, but if it's close I would be glad to make sure you are safe. He held out his hand carefully but she ignored it, brushing it away and sliding her own arm around his waist. Peter hesitated briefly but accepted it, wrapping his useless arm around her and glancing at the girl briefly, his face warming uncomfortably. Peter shot out a web and pulled them upwards, scaling the wall quickly. Which way to your home? You never gave me your name? Leela. My name is Leela, and we go that way. Leela pointed past where the school was. Alright, well, please hold on, Leela. You can put me down over there, Leela said, motioning to an alleyway. Okay, Peter responded, slowing and dropping down. They landed on the ground and Peter let go of her. Leela, however, didn't let go, and instead leant into him further, causing Peter to stumble backwards to lean on the wall. Hey, Spider-Man, there's something I want to show you. His chest tightened as Leela got closer to him. She reached into end of it. This necklace was given to me by my grandmother, Leela murmured quietly. It is the miraculous of the fox, granting the power of illusion to those who use it. A miraculous? Peter echoed. Like Ladybug and Chat Noir's. Leela frowned slightly at the mention of Ladybug but her warm smile quickly returned. Yes, I am the superhero Rena Rouge. Rena Rouge? That's you? Peter echoed again. Wasn't your identity revealed to Hawkmoth the other day by that Akumu observer? Yes, Leela responded, and that's also why I haven't appeared since. She brushed the hair from her eyes and lay her head on Peter's shoulder, causing him to flinch slightly. I wasn't always called Rena Rouge though. The Fox Miraculous user was once called Volpina, but after I was akumatized I didn't want people to remember me as a villain so I changed my name to Rena Rouge. That's a wow, Leela. Why did you tell me this? Peter asked her, remembering what Marinette had stressed about when he offered to reveal his identity to her. Because I know now that I can trust you. If Peter didn't have a mask on he knew he would have felt her breath on his face. And I'm hoping that you will trust me too, Spider-Man. What are you asking from me, Leela? Peter asked hesitantly. Tell me who you are, Spider-Man. Who is under that mask of yours? What? Peter pressed himself closer to the wall, suddenly feeling trapped. Spider-Man, you're obviously an amazing person. We could make an amazing team together. Leela put her hands on his shoulders and narrowed her eyes with a soft smile. Tell me your identity, Spider-Man. End of chapter 13. Normally I would say something in the end of the video, but I'm in a hurry right now. Link down to the description if you want to read the rest of the story. I hope you enjoy. Goodbye.